I posted a full cover of A Change of Seasons by Dream Theater last week, and there's a lot I could talk about with this song, but maybe the most important part is the acoustic intro. I don't do a ton of covers on this channel, but I was asked to do A Change of Seasons for an upcoming collaboration, and I figured I'd put together my own cover as well. When I do covers, it's important to me to be as accurate as possible. This acoustic intro was originally played on a 7-string, and I'm not sure if that was a 7-string acoustic or if it's done with an electric and a piezo system. I couldn't figure out exactly by looking online. Maybe a bigger Dream Theater fan than me would know. But for me, it was going to sound much better and more accurate to the original to play it on my acoustic, and obviously I don't have a 7-string acoustic, so I had to come up with a way to play this on a 6-string. This song is done on a standard 7-string guitar tuned B, E, A, D, G, B, E. Now my first thought was just to take the low E on the 6th string down to B, and that works okay for some of this section, but there are a few chords like this C power chord which just weren't possible in this tuning. I also tried dropping the A string to E, but I ended up with some of the same problems. The tuning I settled on was B, E, A, D, B, E, basically a 7-string guitar without the G string, so these low 4 strings are dropped a 4th, and the B and E on the top stay the same. Now there was a good reason for using this tuning specifically. This intro is really only made up of 3 different parts, and 2 of these parts only use the bottom 4 strings of a 7-string, which means in this tuning I can play those exactly like the original, and in the other section I'll talk about some of the changes I had to make. A couple of things about this tuning: if your guitar action is too low or your strings are too thin, dropping the tuning this far might be an issue. It's kind of right on the edge of what sounds good on my guitar. If I dig in, you can hear it buzzing. So that's just something to be aware of. This caused some issues when I was recording. I wasn't able to dig in as much as I wanted to with that buzzing happening. So to counteract that, I double tracked the acoustics left and right, as well as layering in a clean electric guitar with a pretty bright tone. And this helped to bring back some of that attack. It was a compromise, but one that worked pretty well. Here's the first of the 3 sections in this intro. This is actually pretty easy to play, but the main thing I'm focused on is letting each note ring as long as possible. Like that high G. I'm letting all those high notes ring as long as I can, and I gotta keep my fingers nice and curved to achieve that. And this part is played exactly like it would be on a 7-string. The second section is where things get a little bit different. The original part here is played on the top 6 strings of the 7-string guitar, meaning you could do this in standard tuning on a 6-string, and actually later in the song I do that because this happens again slightly modified when the singing is happening, but here I'm going to have to adjust it to fit this specific tuning. So the first chord here would look like this if you were in standard tuning, but I'm just going to have to take this same shape and shift it from the 2nd fret up to the 7th fret. And because my B and E string are still in standard tuning, this works perfectly. This next chord is the one place I had to make a major change to the original intro. It looks like this in the original. So you have the 3rd fret on the low E string, open D string, 2nd fret on the G string, 3rd fret on the B string, and then open high E string. Now, because I've basically eliminated the G string in this tuning, like I mentioned earlier, the only way for me to play this chord and have all the notes ring together is this. Which is a weird chord, and it's quite a stretch, and it's pretty hard to get into. But it's the only way I could play this and have it sound like the original. The rest of this section is actually pretty simple to play. These next 2 shapes, look a little different than the original, but they're easy to play. And then these last two add 9 chords are just like the original. And the third and final section looks like this. Just like the first section, this can be done with the same fingering as the 7-string version thanks to this tuning. Nothing really crazy in here. Once again, I'm just focused on letting everything ring as much as possible. I'm going to play this entire intro twice, once with the tab on the screen with the video, and once with the original tab and the modified tab underneath it. That way you can see the differences between the 7 and 6-string version of this. If you're interested in a PDF of this tab, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. So there's the intro to A Change of Seasons on a 6-string. I haven't heard this done on a 6-string where it actually sounded like the original part, but this tuning made that possible with just a few minor adjustments. Go check out my full cover of this song on the channel. It was quite the undertaking, but it was a blast to put together. And if you enjoyed this lesson, subscribe, hit the bell notification, like, comment, share. Till next time, stay proggy.